Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of Broadcast.gg Scrim Nights. I am one of your two casters for the evening, and I'm joined here by Shy Guy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing real good tonight, Ark. I'm ready to get into it, get right into the action here this evening. Should be some great Overwatch, a couple of pretty high-level teams coming in for this evening, so should be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a good one. We've got Awaken Militia against Impera. They are Impera being the newcomer to Broadcast.gg. Meantime, Awaken Militia is well known to many around here. I believe we saw them yesterday, if my memory is correct. But if not, we've definitely seen them quite a bit over the different Scrim Nights that we've had. We will talk a little bit more about Impera first. They are, like I said, the newcomer. Shy Guy, what do we know about them?
This is a team that has been together for about 2 months now. They're a team composed of players mostly in the high masters, low GM kind of SR range, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're working with. They're a team that is going to like to run a whole lot of dive, but it should be really interesting to see how that works out in the current meta, whether they are capable of continuing to run that now that the Brigitte and Hanzo meta is firmly upon us in the current day and age. But we're going to see Bear and Ninja Salad form the tank line for Impera, backed up by a DPS duo in Moirai and Universe, and then keeping everybody nice and healthy, keeping everybody alive, making sure no one gets into too much trouble is going to be their support line of Dark Akemi and Pickley. So I'm really excited to see what this new team can bring to the table against an old favorite here in the Broadcast.gg Scrim Nights.
To talk about Awaken Militia, they are going to be, as you said, the old favorite, and we've got a very strong lineup. They're a 4K team, and of course, leading the charge is going to be Defang on Lucio, and Aloof Andrew and Praise the Sun on Reinhardt and Hanzo. They have definitely been playing those. Praise the Sun on Hanzo particular is one to keep an eye on. Dazan bringing up the Zarya. That has been, of course, the other half of Hanzo in the current meta, and 20, Mark Nakoa are both very good as well. That Zen very were necessary in the Hanzo meta as well. 20 bringing up Genji, although 20's been playing some other stuff as well. I think we've seen him on Pharah, and we saw Tracer as well. So a little bit of versatility out of him. They, of course, have also been together for around 2 months, but it seems like we've seen them around here for about 2 months. So we kind of seen them evolve. They, of course, like a hybrid style map, and they like to play dive, although it seems like they've been adjusting well to the Graviton Dragon Strike meta that we have so far. And, of course, the Brigitte meta is important as well. And I think we're going to be jumping right into our first game here. This is going to be Oasis.
Yeah, should be a really fun first map for both of these teams. We do have to wait for one member of Impera to join back up with us, get back into the lobby. We had a little bit of a technical issue to start things off. That's how you can tell that we are amateurs here, but we are back up to 6 members here for Impera. Teams should be ready to get going into Oasis. Should be a really fun map. I would definitely expect, just based on the information that they've given us from Moirai, to bring out the Pharah. Might be going head-to-head against 20 up in the skies. This is definitely a good map for the Pharah, and where that matchup can make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oasis, this first one is going to be the University, I think. I don't have my Oasis map names down quite yet.
This is Gardens.
This is Gardens. I'm bad. Don't listen to me. But we're jumping right in here. And interesting to see the lineups kind of being hovered right now. 20 on the Pharah that we talked about. Praise the Sun on Tracer. We have seen that as well. I know that we've seen him on Hanzo on this map. So they are changing it up a little bit. Andrew running that Winston, so we are very divey for Awaken Militia. Impera is not exactly the same. It'll be interesting to see how this Hanzo plays against this, especially without a... They don't have a Zarya right now, so I'm curious to see how that will play out for them.
Yeah, so they're still opting to stick with the Diva, which kind of makes sense on kind of a control map like that, like this, where you're going to have members of the other team on the high ground and kind of spread out across the point. You're not able to hit those kind of huge graviton surges on a point like Gardens. So it kind of makes sense to have that, but they still want to continue running this new Hanzo with his new abilities that make him very deadly to a dive composition like this.
Yeah, he can put out some massive damage, and he's putting out the Sonic Arrow here as well as what it looks like. They are going to be moving in now with the dive from Awaken. It's going to get to this point first, and they are ready to set up here. In the meantime, Hiroki is high up in the air. The aerial battle going down. 20 trying to duel him out here at the moment, and it is going to be a neck and neck between those two. In the meantime, Praise the Sun going off on that Tracer, finding those picks in the back line. 20's going to continue to rain down those rockets as well. And even if you can't pick the Pharaoh right away, the fight goes in the side of Awaken just from the ground battle.
And neither of these teams really have the kind of hit scan pressure to deal with the far up in the sky, so it's going to be about who can kind of deal with the tank line, get in the back, deal with the deep, the supports, just like Praise the Sun was able to do to Pickley right there. Gets an early pick that gets res back up. No harm, no foul to start things off, but that res will not be available going in this next fight.
Yeah, that is one thing that Praise is very good at, being very aggressive with that Tracer. You see Universe actually moved over to a Tracer here as well, and they are going to be going hard. Praise the Sun takes out Pickley, though, right at the start of that next fight. Pickley is not having a good time against that, and that's also going to affect this aerial duel quite a bit. You don't have the Discord Orb that you can drop onto 20. That means Miroki is at a disadvantage here when those fights come down to it. He is going to have a barrage available, though. Going to be able to take out Andrew with that before he is dropped by Praise the Sun once again, doing lots of work here and holding on to this point.
Yeah, and the res going to come back up onto Aloof Andrew, get him back to the point before the next fight starts, get the full 6 available for Awaken Militia as they prepare to try to hold this point once again, with Impera just making their way around this right side, trying to use the cover provided to stay away from 20 on the far right.
And this time it's an early pick onto Mark Nakoa, but 20 and Praise are going to pick it up. They have the ults available. The barrage comes down, picks up 2 before 20's taken down. The rest of them are just going to be able to clean this one up. 84% on the clock, and they still have 4 ultimates remaining to win out the remainder of these fights right now. They've already cleared off Impera, and they have 92% now. Not much time left for Impera to stall us out. They're going to be relying on someone very speedy to come in here, try to drag out the last seconds in this overtime. They are down in numbers, though. This is looking very bad for them. Should be an easy cleanup here for Awaken to finally close this out.
Yeah, and the big thing that stands out from that stage as Awaken Militia takes the 100-0 victory is definitely their ultimate economy. They played that absolutely perfectly, only using the ultimates that they needed to win a fight. It was every time it was 1 or 2 ultimates being used, and even when Impera was trying to come in, dropped several ultimates at one time to try to take a decisive win. Awaken Militia was just able to conserve their economy the entire time, win out the fights with 1 or 2 really well-placed ultimates, and that's what definitely wins them that first point. But now we're going to be moving into a very different stage kind of composition-wise. You're going to see the Reinhardt Zarya compositions that are the staple of the new meta right now.
And is this one University?
Yes, this is
Okay.
University. Eventually you are going to get it right.
I just have to keep guessing. And the fight is going to be underway already. As we said, the Mirror comp's coming out, the Brigitte comp with the Zarya and all that fun stuff. And Andrew on his Comfort Champion is going to be coming out big with that Reinhardt, finding those picks. And it's going to be another very quick take here from Awaken Militia as they wipe off Impera before the point even unlocked.
Yeah, and they just enable their Reinhardt to move forward really aggressively. He gets the Zarya bubble. He gets there to try to back him up make sure that he can move in aggressively. And now Praise is going to get an early pickoff onto Bear to start this one out.
Yeah, Praise is just going in hard right now. You can see him dropping that Dragon Strike. Zazan isn't even close to the Graviton, so he's going to have a chance to build another one up before he needs it for the big combo. And this is going so well for Awaken so far. We're really looking for, what are we looking for out of Impera to kind of switch this up?
Yeah, they need to do something to combat this aggression that we see coming out from Awaken Militia, because right now they're getting held at this like choke point, which is not somewhere you ever see people try to hold or you land a huge shield bash, earth shatter combination there. That's one of the things that the Geta allows you to do when you are playing aggressively like that. She can knock down the enemy Reinhardt shield for that split second. You need to land the huge Graviton Surge, and now look at the ultimates that are still up on the side of Awaken Militia compared to what Impera has.
Yeah, Praise and Aloof Andrew are, as we said, the ones to keep an eye on, and they are showing why already. Taking those kills outright in the beginning here, and we are so close to the Galactic Dragon. The Dragons come out first, though, from Universe. He's going to take one down. 20 is down with that one, and it is going to be the return call for the side of Awaken Militia. They are going to line up the Graviton, and here come the Dragons, and there come the kills. Another big combo for them, just like we've come to expect out of this meta. They are doing very well practiced, and another big cleanup.
Yeah, and Imperial looked like they had a bit of an opportunity there. They got the res off onto Bear after he fell early in that fight. Got him back into it and tried to regroup, but it just allowed for the huge Graviton to come in. And now it might be a little too late for Impera as they're not able to make it back to the point. It's going to be 2 straight 100-0 stages for Awaken Militia here on Oasis, and they took a convincing map 1.
Yeah, Impera was able to, come out with that kind of improvised combo. Not so improvised. I mean, you're used to seeing the Pharaoh Barrage with it at the end. But it wasn't on the point, and it wasn't going to be enough. And there's that beautiful quintuple kill for Praise the Sun with that Dragon Strike. And that's going to be the combination to beat, I think, for the rest of the matches.
Yeah, something tells me that is not going to be the last time that we see Zazan and Praise the Sun hook up for that combination this evening. But we'll see if Impera can kind of adapt to what we just saw from Awaken Militia. The aggression that they came out with was absolutely kind of stunning. I think to an extent Impera just kind of got punched in the mouth to start things off and never really were able to get all together and have the kind of decisive engagement that you really need to retake a point, especially against a team that is playing, so cohesively like Awaken Militia was.
Yeah, and we are going to see a swap here. We have Dr. Ha swapping in here for Pickley. So we're going to see maybe a little bit different team comp, a little bit different strategy here out of Impera with that substitution. And we're going to be moving on to the Escort map. This is going to be a Dorado is what it looks like. And that's been a little bit more interesting choice to me. I feel like a lot of teams like Junkertown. And, I think Junkertown is fun to watch. I don't necessarily know how fun the teams think it is to play, but that's not what we're going to see here. Dorado, a little bit kind of older, more classic Overwatch map. And some of the classic strategies now, especially with Hanzo being back in favor. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that we can kind of see that in some ways is kind of an echo of the kind of old school vanilla Overwatch, I guess you could call it. What do you think we're going to see out of this map?
I think this is one of the more interesting maps in that I think there is a lot of room for kind of different composition to be played on the different stages of this map. This first point is very much kind of, at least right now, in the vein where you're going to see some of that Reinhardt Zarya composition. At least on the defense, I think it makes a whole lot of sense. The Hanzo definitely has the ability to rein in a lot of damage on this first point. There are a lot of narrow kind of choke points that the offense has to make their way through. But It's kind of a different story when you start making your way through the streets phase onto the second point here on Dorado. There's a lot more high ground to work with, so that Hanzo still continues to be a viable pick. But I think that's a point where you can still see a little bit more of the dive composition that had been kind of the dominant meta for the last few months until the most recent changes.
And we do have a very interesting composition coming out here for Awaken Militia. They are showing the double sniper. We've seen it before, especially on Escort. I've seen it on Junkertown. I've definitely seen it on this first point on Dorado as well. So this is not entirely unexpected. They're running the Winston with it, which is a little interesting. He's not going to have so much of a dive buddy as far as DPS goes, although the Diva is going to be able to jump in there with him and see how this works out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Hanzo is definitely the DPS that you kind of have to play in the current meta a lot of the time. So where you would often see a Tracer or a Genji, now you're seeing this Hanzo coming out from Praise the Sun.
And Aloof Andrew dives right in there, is going to actually get taken down. So again, a little bit lack of a dive buddy. The Diva made it out, but so far it's just 1-for-1 trade, and they are going to be able to keep moving here. And there's the Dragons already. Boy, look away from those ultimates for a second, and Praise the Sun is ready to bear with that next one. And 20 not slacking off here, either going to pick up Universe on that one. And what a solid hold from Awaken.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Impera had any idea that Dragon Strike was about to come out. I don't think we had any idea that was ready. You rarely will ever see an ultimate build faster than that, and that's a huge credit to Praise the Sun. He's already back to 55% on his next one. Yeah, I don't know what you can say about this right now.
And they have this high ground. This is like a non-standard place for these guys to be hanging out, but with the divey tanks, they are kind of holding their ground here. It's kind of a three-man dive that went in there at the moment with Hui going down. I'm not sure if that was the right strategy there, but there's another Dragon Strike. So as long as you have a Dragon Strike on a 10-second cooldown, I think it doesn't really matter what your strategy is. And 20 again finding the picks. This is kind of a repeat. Something has to change here. Do you think maybe the tanks need to change here for Impera?
Yeah, I think that's probably the answer that they need to come out with, because right now they just have literally nothing to put any pressure onto 20, onto Praise the Sun if he's got that high ground, onto
there it is.
Koa, and Universe gonna be able to get the better of Praise the Sun to start things off. Now we'll see if he can get the res off. He will be able to bring that Hanzo back into the fight.
Yep, the res is there. The self-destruct is out. It's going to buy them a little bit of time. They are still trying to hold this one out. The payload is stalled here for the moment. And the tanks this time, Aloof Andrew picking up another kill there. This is, it's interesting to see. They do have 6 ultimates on the side of Impera. They've decided not to switch anything up yet, and they are finally getting this payload moving. So now Awaken a little bit on the back foot.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is the time for Impera to really make their push. They've gotten some movement on the cart, and now they've gotten out of that initial phase of the map where the high ground is just so dominant, and now they're all fighting on equal footing, and that should benefit the comp that Impera is running right now.
And the Graviton comes out, not quite in sync with the Dragon Strike. That's not going to find anyone. Fortunately, Universe is going big anyway, actually going to find 2 picks on his own, and Darka Kemi finds Hui. The Mercy battle comes out, and that's going to be the pickup that Impera finally needed to take that point A, and we're going to see some more action here on the streets phase of Dorado.
Yeah, and now this is the time that Impera can kind of make the snowball start to happen. They've still got a couple of big ultimates to work with in that Transcendence, as well as Bear's Earth Shatter. If he can land a big one to start things off, that should open the way for them to continue making some progress. But right now, Awaken Militia has firm control of this high ground.
Yeah, Awaken is going to use that as a platform to dive in. You're going to force the Transcendence out of Doctor. They are going to be, unfortunately, not so successful here. Not enough healing, I think, for those dive tanks. and they are going to go down. I think that Awaken needs to kind of rethink this strategy a little bit. You know, the dive does not seem to work on these big armored up tanks in the back.
Yeah, and now they've, you know, now that they have the presence on the cart, it's going to be a lot harder for this double sniper composition to really displace the composition that Impera is running, unless 20 or Praise the Sun can come out and hit some really big shots all of a sudden. It's going to be difficult, but Universe going to start things off with a couple of big kills off the back of that Earth Shatter.
Yeah, this is very much reliant on Universe to continue to put that damage out. He actually did get a couple of big picks there, but was eventually taken down by Mark Nakoa, which is, you know, that Zenyatta coming in clutch as a DPS, I suppose, when you need him.
Yeah, and I think 20 actually that time was the best sniper that we had on the field in that last fight. There was absolutely no pressure once again on the high ground, and this time he came through with a couple of big picks that kind of canceled out any damage that Impera was able to do.
And the Valve comes out for another dive here. They are going to continue with this dive 2-tank strategy. It is going to find Universe this time, so that is an important pick. It worked out for them on this dive. I guess there was not enough armor, not enough protection onto that Hanzo. They do have the res available, though, I think, and that's going to set them up to continue here. The self-destruct is going to come out to be blocked by that shield pretty handily. Nothing big coming out of that ultimate, and there's only 60 seconds left for the Impera to make a move. Bear is on that point, swinging the hammer. He is going to get zapped a little bit by the tickle cannon from Aloof Andrew, going to force the Transcendence out. And the Dragons come down as well. Another big shatter, this time for Bear, and he is going to come to Bear with that one. Only a few members here. Praise the Sun actually moved over to the Tracer, trying to stall us out on the point. Going to get caught in the Graviton, though, and that's going to leave Universe some easy cleanup, like shooting fish in a barrel. And the Streets for his point B is pretty going to be taken here by Impera.
Yeah, and you know, there you saw kind of the Achilles heel of that composition that Awaken Militia was trying to run. As soon as both of the tanks got kind of focused down, there was absolutely no real presence left on the cart. The Graviton Surge cleaned up what little remained of Awaken Militia's defense, and then 20 had no ability whatsoever to kind of get onto the cart, stall things out for his team. To keep that point alive, and now Impera has the opportunity to make their way onto the third point.
Yeah, another big fight coming out here. Aloof Andrew popping that Primal Rage to try to disposition the rest of Impera on this point. The team from Impera, however, is still not giving up on this one. They dropped those Dragons on the point as well. They are not going to be able to survive, though, as it looks like Awaken is able to push back through this choke. And already after that point take, we're down to 60 seconds remaining again. So maybe 1 or 2 pushes at most here for Impera to kind of find the rest of the momentum they need.
Yeah, and you know, they did a good job of only using the Dragon Strike in that last one. If Universe had been able to come up with something big with that ultimate, then maybe they could have continued that push, but they held firm on the rest of the ults that they have at their disposal right now. And now they're going to come in with a bit of a loaded war chest. They're going to start with the rally to give everyone that big armor as they move on to the point, to make it very difficult to focus anyone down.
Yeah, this is going to focus a lot of pressure onto 20 to get those picks over the Tracer. Praise the Sun already going down, actually. They are going to drop the self-destruct in the back, but it's not going to find anyone. Universe still going huge on the Hanzo. He's going to find another pick onto the support. 2 supports down now for Universe. He is coming up big. He now has to only worry about 20 for the moment as the rest of Awaken Militia scrambles to get back onto this point. They are in overtime, so this is still a lot of pressure on Impera to not make a mistake. They are trying to position this, coming around this last bend, and Awaken making their final swaps here to make a final stand. The 2 tanks coming out, Aloof Andrew and Zazan onto Reinhardt and Zarya. Going to switch this one up in the last second here. They're going to have a trans available, but not a whole lot else as far as ultimates, and not a lot of distance either. They're there, 2 meters remaining, still in overtime. The trans is out. Marknut on the point. Zazan coming in big, and 20 finding a pick there as well. The Dragons are out. They're not going to find anyone, but Universe still on that high point, and he is going to not find any picks in that Graviton. 20 coming up big with his picks, and that is going to solidify the final hold for Awaken Militia, and very close, very intense fight on that final point.
Yeah, and a huge play that's kind of understated that comes out there from Praise the Sun. Still alive on the Tracer before that final fight really gets started. He gets into the backline and forces out the Transcendence from Dr. Ha before the fight even began. Which meant that huge amount of healing that would have been available to keep Impera alive on the point as they tried to finish that out was not available whatsoever. Allowed 20 to start raining in the damage to put a lot of pressure on the members of Impera, and they started to fall one by one as Awaken Militia streamed back out onto the point, were able to get the final hold just before the end here on Dorado. Now they've given themselves a very good opportunity to take our second map.
And a little interesting. I don't think we're going to see this necessarily, but Aloof Andrew hovering the Junkrat, which is definitely not what you would normally see on attack here, especially fighting uphill as you are on point A of Dorado. But 20 is showing the Genji. We know that he likes Genji. That is going to have the upper mobility. It is going to give you some versatility to go into that backline and pick the Hanzo. I think we'll see Aloof maybe go back to Winston, but this is definitely a good comp to attack into a into a Hanzo with, I would think. Another key thing that we didn't kind of point out quite yet on the offense was the ability for Awaken to be spread out and not get gravitoned all at once.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be a little bit harder to kind of accomplish that on the at least this first point defense, where you kind of have to funnel in through a couple of major choke points. But the inclusion of the Genji and the Widowmaker does allow for a little bit more of a kind of spread out composition with some different angles of attack.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting is that you don't really get a whole lot of damage to rain down from this top point hold on defense. So right now Impera's already being forced back. They haven't really found a good hold, and Praise the Sun with the Widow flank coming up behind, coming up big, finding the heads, and this is going to be a huge part of this push for Awaken Militia to clean up the rest of Impera. They were not expecting that, and they were not going to last very long once they started dropping there.
Yeah, I think they probably anticipate Praise the Hun coming out on the Tracer or the Hanzo like we had seen previously, but he opts to switch over to the Widowmaker and is able to make that work to get them a really easy first point take, as he just claims that high ground up behind the first checkpoint and gets a crossfire set up so that Impera has no safe place to hide.
And a very sneaky little flank here by the Genji. He actually decides to back off of that, but he was in a kind of sneaky position there on the side, and he's getting very close to his Dragon Blade as well. That's going to help them clean up, especially the important squishies on the back end. It's not really hampered so much by the Brigitte either. Obviously that shield bash can hurt you, but the armor can be sliced through if need be. The Earth Shatter is out though. That is going to take down 2, and those are 2 big picks. They're not going to find the kills though. They're going to be forced off of here by the self-destruct. That's going to come out from Zazan and give them a little bit more space. Marknut is following up with the Transcendence. He's going to keep the rest of the team alive as they are going in hard. 20 is there on the Genji. He is not going to pop that Dragon Blade quite yet, but he's looking for those kills in the back. Aloof Andrew also there, going to get the first kill onto Dark Akemi, and that means that there is no healing the rest of Impera. Likely to fall here without that. They're going to drop the dragons in the meantime to try to hold this one out, create some space. Universe finds a pick, and they drop the sound barrier to try to hold this out. Countered this time by Wei on Lucio as well, and they are still going to be neck and neck on this fight. They've stalled the point out for a while yet, but can they last here on the defense with the rest of Awaken Militia ready to go? Aloof Andrew's still there. I think they're just regrouping for another push at this point, and it's a very drawn-out fight. They're going to have to dodge this self-destruct, though. That's going to take out 2 big picks for Ninja Salad, and that's going to finally stall the attack. The defense coming out big for Impera this time.
And Impera actually did a really good job of kind of holding themselves together on that defense after they had lost the first couple picks of that fight. They lost Dark Akemi. She goes down pretty early, but while Awaken Militia still has 6 members left, the Universe drops the dragons to keep Awaken Militia at bay, allows times for those respawns to come in. And then once they get a full 6 back on the cart, this comp is really hard to displace unless 20 can hit some, or Praise the Sun can hit some really big headshots.
And the Dragon Blade is out right now. It hasn't found anybody yet. Does eventually find Miroki. Self-destruct for Zazan finds another. And those 2 big ultimates for Awaken are going to start this push off very strong. They're still looking to take down these tanks. Bear has that Discord. He's going to be the next target. And Mark Nakoa going to find that pick on a Zenyatta. That's going to be, you can't underestimate the damage that comes out of that hero as you see him taking down both tanks in this fight, including the Pilot Diva. That's a big pick for him, and he's definitely going to make some plays when the damage is not quite there from the rest of the team.
Ooh, and Bear tries to drop an Earth Shatter to save that point, but drops it right into a Luke Andrews Winston barrier. Not going to allow them to hold on to this point, despite the fact that they are winning this fight handily now. They got off the point for just a brief second. That was all Awaken Militia needed to get the second checkpoint, keep this payload moving.
Yeah, Impera spent some resources to win that fight after the fact. It would have served them much better to hold that out in the last couple of meters and be able to continue holding and spawning here. That's also going to mean that the attacker spawn moves forward quite a bit, so they're going to have more of a launching point for this next assault, and they're going to have hopefully some ultimates here very soon as well. 20 and Huihui coming up soon on those.
They've got a little over 3 minutes to work with, and now the dive coming in. 20 comes around from the backside and gonna drop the Dragon Blade. Gets it there. They are. Take down 3, 4.
Oh boy!
Huge with the kills with his ultimate, making all kinds of space for his team.
20 comes up so big there. This is going to give them a lot of space. As you said, they are possibly going to get this before Impera has a chance to respond.
Yeah, the Impera going to use the rally to come back out aggressively, and we'll see if it's enough.
Yeah, the fight is now on. The rally is out. Last chance here for Impera to make a stand. 2.5 minutes they have to stall this one out, so it's going to be quite a few more fights for them to come out ahead in this one. And the tanks are out. Bear is swinging wildly, trying to find those kills. 20 is actually going to find a pick onto the support. Praise is bringing up the tank kills, however. This is still going either way, but it does look to be favoring Awaken Militia very slightly. They have the point. The numbers advantage here on the point. Now Ninja Salad, the last line of defense. While they're trying to stall this out, the Valkyrie's going to be there, but the Dragon Blade is there as well. Dark Akemi goes down, and Ninja Salad as well. The damage is there for Awaken Militia, and now it's just the spawn advantage for Impera that is going to be their last hope of holding this, and the Hanzo's not going to last. That's going to be a great cap there from Awaken Militia, and what a final push.
Yeah, and 20 coming up with the hero plays time and time again on the Genji there for that final point. He opens things up with a beautiful Dragon Blade. I have a feeling we're going to see it here in the play of the game to open the way for this final point. Gets the beautiful 4K, I believe, off the back of this ultimate. And then there at the very last kind of dying breaths for Impera, you saw Dark Akemi come out and use that Valkyrie, trying to stall things out, keep her teammates alive on the point. But 20, once again, just shuts everything down, pulls out the blade once again, dives up into the air and clips the wings off of Dark Akemi and just takes any life that was remaining out of that defense from Impera.
Yeah, and one thing that you definitely see here is a lot of great synergy between the DPS and the tanks here for Awaken Militia. You can see them going in together, working together very well. And, the support obviously is very solid for them to be able to weather these fights. And we saw, Mark Nakoa come out really pretty big with those Zenyatta picks as well. So we cannot forget to mention him. We're going to be moving on to the next map. This is going to be Volskaya Industries for our assault style map, rather than Hanamura is the other choice when we're using the typical open division map pool. And Volskaya is definitely an interesting one. You've seen a lot of, I've seen a lot of interesting strategies on here. I know that we actually saw a Torbjorn come out to some success earlier in the week, if I do recall correctly. And that's something that I'm always excited to see that when it comes out. It's a little bit different flavor, a little bit different kind of breath of fresh air. Do you think we're going to see that from either of these teams today?
You know, I am always excited to see any kind of off-meta picks in the current era. It's been a while since Torbjorn has really been kind of viable outside of a niche scenario, and this is one of the maps that he's always been available and kind of potentially used on. But I doubt that we see it. It's not something that still kind of works more often than not. But if they teased us a little bit with Bastion coming out to start things off, but not gonna stick on that hero on the side of Awaken Militia. It looks like we're gonna see a little bit of kind of standard compositions for both teams. Mira comps with the Reinhardt, Zarya, Brigitte meta in full swing here on Volskaya, and you know this is a map that definitely favors that kind of style.
Yes, indeed, and the mirror comps are likely to be coming out here. It'll be interesting to see, which team can pull this off effectively. Even if Awaken kind of outplays, eventually the big combo is going to come out for Impera. So I don't know how long this hold will work in the face of that dreaded combination.
Yeah, and Impera definitely seemed to work a lot better with the kind of objectives that we had on the last map, as opposed to the kind of control map that we had on Oasis. So we'll see if that continues to hold true as they make their way onto the first point of Volskaya.
And the tanks are bumping into each other already. Universe finding a couple of big picks. The Hanzo showing how dangerous he is, helping clean up here, and this is just going to be over for Awaken already. Impera coming onto this point strong, and they are going to be preparing for point B already. No contest from Awaken on this.
Yeah, and this time they don't even need any kind of ult combinations whatsoever. That's what can happen when your Hanzo just comes in, gets 2 quick picks with that new ability, with those new rapid fire arrows. Hits a couple of big shots to take down people in the back line. It's a little bit of a kind of a flank as the tanks do it out, but now Impera looking to go aggressive, start the snowball.
Yeah, they are looking to start this one, and they're almost ready for this Earth Shatter. However, Andrew is there with his first, and he is going to come in big. Not going to be dropped there by Bear, unfortunately. And the cleanup is there for Awaken Militia to stop this one. Not a whole lot committed, though, by Impera, so they're going to be fully charged. Well, not quite fully charged, but some of them are ready for those ultimates on the next push, and they're going to be coming in ready for the defense that Awaken has already shown that they're capable of producing.
Yeah, and I think they now have the tools in their war chest that they need to take this point. You can land a big Earth Shatter. That can be the way you break things open, but I think Marknut Koa is going to be the one to watch on the side of Awaken Militia. He's approaching that Transcendence, and that can be what keeps his team alive.
And a couple of whiffed ults actually here. Fortunately, Bear is still going to come in strong with that charge and takedown too. The Graviton is going to catch the rest of Impera, but it's not going to take anybody down, even with the combination. Great Transcendence from Dr. Ha, keeping this push alive, and Universe continues to find these picks. The res available for Impera means that this is going to look very strong for them. Now it is going to be the trickle, the stall from Awaken. They're going to have to struggle to find anything here, especially in the face of this Graviton and the Dragons and everything else. That was another Dragon Strike. That was a big one for Universe. They're going to try to clean this one up. A last-ditch effort by Awaken is going to put 4 members here on the point, now 5, and they are starting to gain some ground on this, actually. The spawn advantage playing in their favor, and the spawn timers are now going to stabilize. They're going to clean this one up at 82%, so it looks so good for Impera, but they couldn't quite hold that one out.
Yeah, just not quite getting the focus fire that you really need there in the later stages of the fight. As the members of Awaken Militia kind of streamed their way back onto the point, they were able to stall things out with the Transcendence from Marknut Koa, which allowed kind of 4 members of his team to group back up, put together a little bit of a cohesive defensive push, and that was all that it really took for them to swing the tide of the fight back in their favor.
Now, everything that worked well for Impera in that fight, they have plenty of time to do again. There's 4 minutes and 15 seconds left for them to make this happen, and they are already making their moves slowly. And here, Bear comes in with that charge, and the Zarya bubble's there to protect him. That's so key to coming in kind of slowly with these tanks, is getting that Zarya bubble going, and unfortunately, it's not going to stop 20 from going in hard on that. He does eventually go down, maybe a little too hard, but the rest of the team is there to clean up. So, you know, it's another great fight, another great defense from Awaken Militia, and both of these teams not really changing a whole lot as far as their strategies go. We do see praise onto the Tracer, but not anything, you know, crazy, not anything too different yet.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's opting for that, you know, kind of flanking DPS, even with the Brujettes on the other side from Miroki. Usually a little bit of a counter there, but now going for the big bang in the back. Not going to be able to pick up any kills off the back of that immediately, but 20 takes down Dark Kami. That's a big first pick.
Big shadow there as well. Not going to find a ton of purchase with that, but it is going to be picks going either direction, and that's the hard part. You know, if you trade kills as offense, you're going to lose to the spawn advantage that the defenders have, especially on point B. So this is not going to give enough momentum for Impera to really move in on. Surprised they're even trying to fight this. I guess they're just waiting for the regroup, and they're ready to go in now that everyone is back in action. In the meantime here, we're going to have the tanks swinging those hammers right in the front there. Bear is out, and the Graviton is there. The Transcendence, fortunately, going to protect them through this, as well as the sound barrier. Despite all of that, Universe coming up huge with the Dragon Strike, with the Storm Arrows, and with the rest of his team. They're going to clean this point up. They're going to take this point, and 2.5 minutes for them on the clock. What a solid pick. I don't even know how they got through that, because that was 2 support ults that they just completely ignored with that combo.
Yeah, I'm a little bit baffled about how Awaken Militia all managed to fall through those 2 big support ultimates. That's usually the Transcendence alone is usually enough to kind of keep everyone alive, even through kind of the Graviton Surge, the Dragon Strike. Usually that will do the trick, but I guess the kind of focus fire was just there on the side of Impera. You know, when you've got Ninja Salad at high charge like that, when you've got Bear swinging away the Discord orbs, as well as the shots coming in from Dr. Ha, I guess all of that combined is enough to eat through the Transcendence, to deal with the sound barrier as well. And you know, when you can hit ultimate combinations that big, then I guess you can just kind of ignore support ultimates altogether.
Yeah, now we're seeing an interesting composition here for Awaken Militia here on attack. They're showing the Winston for Lufa Andrew, and now showing an Orisa, which is a little bit different. They're opting more for the ball and chain versus the more dive comp. What's making them go this route? Are they looking for a specific pick here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the idea is that they want to kind of catch out one of the squishy members on the side of Impera, kind of catch them off guard through using that Orisa Hog ball and chain combo, grab an early pick and kind of snowball the fight from there. But this is really interesting. Orisa is not a pick that you really see on offense, especially on one of these assault maps. It's not a meta pick by any means right now. So I'm very intrigued to see exactly how they make this work.
Yeah, now that's a very
start.
early pick for Praise, though, taking out Dark Akemi, and this is not looking so good. 20 coming in with those rockets as well, going to be a little bit hard for them to deal with. And right now, the tanks are just struggling. They've got to keep up the defense. They've got to keep a strong hold on the control point itself, or it's going to start ticking up. And Aloof Andrew, what is happening? Orisa finds 3, and that's going to be just as quick of a take, I think, that we saw in the first half, this time for Awaken on offense.
Yeah, and no, I don't really care how off meta your composition is. When your DPS is able to hit the quick headshot onto the enemy Mercy before the fight even begins, then you know you're gonna have a good chance to take the point no matter what you're running. So we'll see if they can continue pressing forward with this composition right now, but they've got the ultimate advantage.
Yes, they have the ultimate advantage, and they have the pulled port combo, and that is going to be in full effect for this one. Fortunately for Impera, they find the pick onto 20. Universe doing his job there on the McCree. That is the whole point of that pick, I would think, to be able to combat that Pharah, and it is going to work out for them very well. It's going to be a kind of a reset, a regroup here this time, and now Aloof Andrew switching off, going back to the Winston. So a little different strategy for point number 2. Maybe not necessarily as many places for the Orisa to set up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Orisa is just a hero that is incredibly difficult to make work on the offense, especially one like this, because Impera can kind of hold aggressively at the choke point, make her shield a lot less versatile than what you've got coming out from Bear on the Reinhardt. And now the dive composition is what they're going to try to use to break things open.
And there's that barrage coming out, taking 2 tanks down off the bat here. Transcendence not coming out in time to save them. They are going to have a res for 1, but that's not going to be everything that they need. The Deadeye is, though, that's going to find 20 and going to shut down this push with a great pick from Universe. That's been, Universe has been the key for every fight that has gone well for Impera, and he is continuing to do so well this time on a McCree.
Yeah, and despite a couple of early picks and a little bit of a mistiming on the Transcendence there, they aren't able to use that to kind of save the members of their team, but it does allow Dark Akami to come in there with the Resurrection onto Bear. Universe gets a little bit of a flank going, kind of a sneaky play there coming out on the McCree, gets around the back with the Deadeye and takes out 20 up in the sky, and but now they're making their way back in, and he's gonna win that battle once again.
Yeah, this is not going well so far for Awaken. What they have to do to make this successful is drop those tanks, those dive tanks, onto that McCree and disrupt him, if not kill him outright. And so far, it's not working. Universe finds 20 once again and stops the push, just like we saw last time.
Yeah, but the problem is that where in the past McCree was such kind of an easy dive target. Now that you've got the Maroki on the Brigette, you've got the Mercy Pocket to help keep him alive. It's a much more difficult task to get those tanks back there and deal with the McCree effectively, but they do need to put some kind of pressure on him right now, or else he's just going to be making 20's life miserable.
He is indeed. In the meantime, 20 is ready for another barrage, and he is going to be able to wait out this Transcendence. Going to be trying to line that one up. Still worried about Universe, but he is not going to get taken out by the Deadeye this time. Universe does not land that one. Going to be able to retreat behind the shield, but he is taken down by the barrage, as is Bear, and 20 coming up huge on that one. The self-destruct on this point as well. Going to give them a lot of room to start making their progress. First tick is done, and Ninja Salad going to be the last one here to try to defend this. And the Graviton is eaten, I think, by Zazan. That is so huge for Awaken. A great play from him, and they are continuing to push off the defense. Very close to taking this one down, actually, and the Earthshatter is maybe going to be enough. We'll see. Bear is trying to stall this one out. He's not going to be able to do it. Mark Dakota coming up big again. Ninja Salad, fortunately, going to be able to take out the Pharah, stall some of this momentum, and it is not looking so good this time for Awaken Militia. Despite how close they are, my screen is bugged. I don't have a percentage, but that looks like about 95% if I had to guess.
Yeah, they were incredibly close to getting that final tick, putting up a pretty good time here on the offense, but now they're gonna have just over 3 minutes to work with. Impera has done an incredible job of just bleeding the time away from this clock, playing on a knife's edge there in that last fight, as they almost lose out on the defense, are able to get members back in there. The Rally and the Valkyrie come up clutch, and to keep what members they had alive on the point, allow a regroup, and to allow them to keep this fight going.
And Universe find another big pick there. This is going to stop this push in its tracks unless there's something crazy coming out from Awaken. I don't think they're going to commit to this. You can see them backing off, saving those ults, and they will have quite a bit in the back pocket for the next fight. And if you look at the ult economy, quite a big advantage here too. Dr. Ha on Trance is going to be a key part of this next fight if they're going to survive on the defense.
Yeah, but the problem that Awaken Militia is dealing with right now is that they don't have those big ultimate combos that you kind of need on a map like Volskaya. They don't have the Graviton Surge or the Earth Shatter to kind of take down multiple members at once, so they're relying on some hero plays from their DPS, and right now that's just not been enough.
And 20 drops the barrage, countered by the trance that we said, but now the self-destruct is out. It's going to push everyone off this point. 20's continue to go big. He's going to find Dark Akemi. That means no res for the time being. Universe is going to find a pick, going to find some purchase. Bear is actually going down here, so this is still very close. A lot of ultimate spent here on the side of Awaken, and they are not going to find the take that they wanted. Now they're going to have to continue to fight extremely hard for this, and they're going to face Dark Akemi with the Valkyrie as well, so they have quite a bit of healing to kind of have to damage through. Not going to have the rally though, so that might be a little bit more of an advantage for them.
Yeah, but now Awaken Militia are making some late swaps. They're gonna switch over to kind of that very meta composition with the Reinhardt Zarya combination. Try to maybe build up those big ultimates, but they've got just about 45 seconds left, and I'm not sure that that's gonna be enough time unless they can win pretty big on this first fight to build up the ultimates they need. But Aloof Andrew picked up 2 with the Fire Strike.
Yeah, Aloof coming in big, and we've seen Praise the Sun build that ult so fast. It is not determined to be that he might now have that by the end of this fight. Already at 61%, and they are setting themselves up on this point very well. Everyone coming in together with the picks, and it's going to be a scramble from Impera to try to hold this one out. Bear is the last one here on this point, and now it is ticking up. A little bit of stall here from Maroki on Lucio, but this is looking not quite so hot for Impera, despite the fact that the overtime is ticking down. That's going to be it, and a great capture here from Awaken Militia before the overtime. So they're going to have a full minute here to 3 minutes now on the clock for Impera. Not an insurmountable fight for Awaken to come back on this.
Not by any means, and you know they barely hold on in that last fight. They're able to come back in with those late switches. I think they caught the members of Impera off guard a little bit there, and it allowed them to win a fight really decisively, which is exactly what they had to have. They finished with just about 7 seconds left, I think, on the clock, but that's all that they need. It gets them an extra minute to work with here on their second push. And you know, with a map like Volskaya, there's definitely possibility for something like you know, even in kind of extreme circumstances, both points being taken here. So what looked like a little bit of a hopeless situation there for Awaken Militia now definitely has some potential.
Yes, indeed, and we are going to see the defense once again here from Impera. This is going to be really key to their chances of victory here. If they can stall out this first point and keep the first capture from coming through here, that's going to give them a lot easier hill to climb to come out with a win on this.
Yeah, and you can see that Impera is now a little bit of afraid of 20 running the Pharah like we saw from their first attack last time. You've got Universe on the McCree that he played so well last time, but you think if they had known what Awaken Militia were going to run, he might be on the Hanzo right now.
Yeah, and right now he's a little bit out of position, actually behind the team. He's going to get taken down by Mark Nikoa, and that's going to give a lot of room here for the rest of Awaken to come in. Mark Nikoa, what are you doing, man? The Zenyatta going huge. That's a 4K for the Zenyatta player. It doesn't even matter. They are going to capture this point and going to be ready to move on to the next one. They're going to get an extra 30 seconds in the bank unless they change that number on me when I wasn't looking. And that's a late staggered pick here for Praise the Sun as well.
That's huge.
Going to be able to move in on this.
Yeah, that is huge. They're now looking at a 6 versus 5 fight until Dr. Hawk can get this respawn and get back to the point with his team. He's going to be able to get there now. But the advantage is already with Awaken Militia, and now the Earthshatter comes out from Aloof Andrew, and he gets 2.
Yeah, they are coming in big with this second push. The snowball coming out strong. Martin Nikoa continuing to continue this madness. What is happening right now? The Zenyatta is there. I don't even know what to say about this Zenyatta right now. This is, and I don't think Impera does either, because that is such a crazy take. 3.7 seconds on the clock for Awaken.
Oh my god, they get another round to work with. Even if Impera is able to come out and take both points now. Awaken Militia gets a third round. They finished the first attack with 7 seconds remaining. Take both points in about as quickly as you really can do it. That is just phenomenal stuff coming out off the back of the crazy Zenyatta play from Mark Nakoa. That's phenomenal. But I think the big kind of key moment there was Praise the Sun got the late stagger onto Dr. Ha as he tried to retreat back to the second point. That allowed Awaken Militia to push forward aggressively. They knew that the other team was down a healer, down that Discord orb, and it just allowed them to come through aggressively, and it just works out perfectly for them on the offense.
Yeah, and this is, going to give them a little bit room to work with here, 3 minutes. So it's not like they can't do this. But after that crazy push out of Awaken, I think maybe their morale might be a little bit shaky. It's going to be interesting to see if they can come back out of that and continue to play, solidly. They do have Universe on Hanzo, and he's been very solid as well. So I think a lot of pressure on him to kind of continue to bring in that damage. I don't know if Dr. Ha is feeling maybe a little bit inadequate after seeing the performance out of Mark Nakoa, but they're going to try this one anyway.
Yep, and now we've got the double sniper composition on the defense coming out. We saw a little bit of this on Dorado for Awaken Militia, and they opted to run this tank composition on their offense. So now breaking out the defense when they need a good hold here on the first point of Volskaya.
Yeah, Dark Akemi going to come in there with that res, so they're going to have 6 members still on the point. Praise the Sun very aggressively positioned here with that Hanzo. Going to be able to back up with his extra mobility that he has. But right now it is going to be Awaken Militia being backed into this corner. The corner does have a health pack, so it's not a bad place to be, but it does mean they're giving up some purchase here on the point. Mark Nakoa finding Bear again. This is in a solid hold for them, and they're going to stop this push in its tracks.
Yeah, and that's a really good response there on the side of Awaken Militia. They lost 20 early in the fight, and they opt to kind of turtle back in this big health pack room, use that Orisa barrier turret to its full potential, just blocking the entire doorway, made it impossible for anyone on the side of Impera to really lay in the damage to their actual team. They're only able to break down the shield. By the time that happens, Bear has gone down, and it allows the remaining members of Awaken Militia to clean up from there.
Oh, and there come the Dragons right through the middle of the team. That's going to split them up enough for Praise the Sun and Mark Nakoa to do their thing. They're just going to clean this one up again, and the ball and chain, the pulled pork combo, very effective at cleaning this one up as well.
Yeah, and a big moment there. Bear kind of tries to go aggressively, make something out of nothing there. After he got split off from his team, tries to go in aggressively with the Earthshatter into that health pack room, but gets taken down mid-ultimate, loses all of the charge on that one, and now that's one huge ultimate they're not going to have available for this next push, and they've only got a minute left after starting with a little over 3.
Yeah, this is looking very scary for Impera. They are still coming in together, going in very well, except for Miroki getting taken down here at the start of this fight. The res is there once again for Miroki, but it may not be enough. The whole hog is going to help clean this one up, and a trance to keep them alive through that combination. That Graviton and Dragon Strike landed inside of that little room, and that meant that there wasn't enough room for the damage to come in from Impera. This is going to be another cleanup from Awaken Militia, and only 30 seconds left for Impera to make their final push.
And now Impera going down to the wire on their second attack. They're going to need some big individual plays because they no longer have those big crowd control ultimates to open their way forward. They do have both supportal moments with the rally, and now the Valkyrie getting popped preemptively. They're going to try to move in aggressively off the back of that.
Yes, they are moving in off of that one, and this is going to be it down to the wire. Praise the Sun finding the first pick of this fight, though, and that is not going to bode well for Impera. They are desperate on the point. Ninja Salad trying to bring his face right in the middle of this fight, but it's not going to be enough. The Dragons come out. The rest of Awaken stay in there strong. The Earthshatter is not going to land on very much. Bear's still going to get 2 picks off of that, though. Not enough for Impera to fight this one out, though. Dr. Ha, the last one there, he's taken down. And quite the win here for Awaken Militia.
Yeah, and that is a tragic reversal of fate for the side of Impera. Everything was looking so good as they almost close out their first defense, almost get the victory, at least almost force it into an overtime, which would have given them a great opportunity. But everything just gets turned on its head with that last second take for Awaken Militia. And then, one of the best, overtime offenses that I've ever seen on Volskaya. You got to hand it to them. They really, when they were backed into a corner, Awaken Militia came out swinging. They went back to the composition that kind of works in this meta, and made it work for them off the back of some really incredible DPS play from Praise the Sun, as well as what at times looked like another DPS in their Zenyatta from Mark Netkoa.
I'm blown away. I'm baffled. I don't know how to process Mark Netkoa right now coming out at Zenyatta. So it's like, we talk about Brigitte being a support and a tank, but Zenyatta clearly, after that performance, is a DPS and a support at the same time. So it's, in some ways, it's like having a 7th member if you want to think about it that way. They're going to, looks like, go on to the next map here. This is typically going to be a hybrid style map. I don't know if the teams have selected yet. I believe we are Nambani, Kings Row, Blizzard World for the map pool. My memory is correct. And, we haven't seen Blizzard World yet. I cannot imagine why.
Hey, it looks like we're going to actually see Blizzard World. This is... maybe the first time I've ever seen a team actually select this map. This is not always a popular map with a lot of our teams, but I definitely enjoy casting it. You see a lot of kind of very different strategies coming out on this map, and it's always fun to watch, at least from my perspective, even if the players don't necessarily always pick it as their favorite.
I gotta say, I've never been to BlizzCon. Hopefully I'll be going this year, but when I imagine what BlizzCon is like, I pretty much just picture this. So maybe I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but I'm excited right now because we are going to be going to Blizzard World.
Yeah, if I can ever make it out to BlizzCon and they don't have these statues kind of waiting for us, then I think I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Snacks Ramus. It's gonna be a good place to stop and eat, and who knows what else is gonna be there. I really think that if Blizzard doesn't eventually really capitalize on all of the brilliant ideas in Blizzard World. Do you think that's what this is? This map is just like a testing, beta test for their real plans for BlizzCon and future theme parks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got Disney World, you got Universal, you've got Six Flags. No, I definitely need a Blizzard theme park. I need all kinds of rides themed after this. Think about it. Just in Overwatch, you could have some really crazy rides. You could have the Reinhardt Charge roller coaster. I just think there's a lot of potential there. So I think this is the first step for them to show that it's possible.
Now, do you think this would be all franchises in one park, or would it be like Disney World where you have like 4 different parks with each franchise?
That's a good idea, actually. They could really milk it for all it's worth.
They could indeed, and we haven't talked about these teams yet either. But Double Sniper coming out here for Awaken Militia. That might be a good choice for them on this first point. We'll see.
Yeah, they have made it work so far. It works a whole lot of good there on that second, or the defense there on first point. Volskaya for the last point, but once again, the kind of meta composition coming out on the side of Impera, but so far Bear once again going to be the first to fall. It seems like that's been happening a lot here this evening.
Yeah, now Aloof Andrew is going to go down. Universe finding him as a pick here. Praise the Sun, unfortunately, holding strong. And one thing I want to point out here is Praise the Sun on that right high ground would not work if there was any vertical mobility on the side of Impera. Fortunately, he cannot get dove. He's kind of safe sitting up there and survive through that fight. However, now it does look like Impera is going to find some purchase, and I don't know that Awaken's going to try to fight this one out. They are going to drop the Dragon Strike, however, and the tanks are going to be swinging at each other in the face. Bear and Andrew, who is going to survive, and it is going to be Bear. The Transcendence not going to come out in time from Mark Nakoa, and now it's going to be up to the res here from Huehue to take that one back. He's going to get it off, but he's going to die for his efforts. Fortunately, Aloof Andrew comes in big, and they're going to clean this one up. It looked scary there, but Awaken showing that they can come back from even some very dire odds.
Yeah, and Praise the Sun kind of helps them pull that back with a couple of key picks during the Transcendence. The res comes back in, brings them back up to full strength, and now Imperial looking to make their way back in, but they've got to deal with 20. He's got the place up on this high ground, and now the Emperor Sight to give him all the information that he needs as Impera makes their way forward with this rally to start things off.
Yeah, and this double sniper, again, no vertical mobility, nothing to go up and contest them. Even that Earthshatter's not going to find a whole lot. The Graviton is out, and that is going to pull them off of that high ground. That is the picks that they needed. Universe coming up big with that combo. And that was just a little misstep from Awaken to get the rest of the team pulled into that Graviton, and that was such a quick cleanup from the likes of Impera to take that one.
Yeah, and that's a really impressive and heads-up play on the side of Ninja Salad. You saw Universe spent his Dragon Strike to start things off before the Graviton had even come out, and Ninja Salad was able to place it in just the right spot so that the Dragons still were able to clean everything up after the Graviton came out. So it's a really incredible work there. But now Impera are going to be pushing their way into 4 ultimates, including this early Valkyrie on the side of Awaken Militia.
Yeah, that Valkyrie is there and stalling this card out very well so far. They're going to be just setting up almost exactly where they were just a few minutes ago. So the spawns are closer for Impera, and they are going to find a pick to start this push off. Finally, the payload is moving. Earthshatter from Andrew, is not going to find anyone. He is going to continue swinging here on this point and going to eat the return shatter from Bear, coming in big, taking down 3. He's going to keep swinging. The Fire Strike comes out, and they are going to clean up the entirety of Awaken Militia. A lot of free space for them now here on this streets phase for them to keep moving forward, and it's going to be interesting to see where exactly Awaken tries to set up the next defense.
Yeah, and a lot of ultimates about to be available for the side of Impera. That Graviton Surge Dragon Strike combination once again available, but Mark Nakoa has the Transcendence to counter that out if they so choose.
And there it is, the combo coming out. The counter trance is there. They are still going to lose 20 through that, but everyone else is going to survive through that. Now the return combo is there. The Graviton and the Dragons coming through this time for Awaken Militia. The trance is there once again as well. So both combinations countered, and the picks individually are coming up in favor of Impera. They're going to take this one.
Yeah, and they just kind of overwhelm the members of Awaken Militia, have just too many ultimates to kind of fight their way through. On top of the Transcendence to keep everyone alive through that Graviton Surge. They also have the Valkyrie out, getting in the damage boost to enable the remaining kills. And the cleanup comes in for Impera, and they're making pretty good time here after. Especially through that streets phase, they got a lot of ground very quickly, and now they've got about 3 minutes to work with on this final point.
Yeah, they are moving into the castle phase, I guess you could say. The Shatter comes out in response to the Dragons. Not going to find much with that, and the Praise the Sun Dragon Strike is going to come out and actually find Universe, however. 20 and Aloof Andrew starting that cleanup right now, and they are going to find the kills they're looking for, going to stop this payload where it is, and great cleanup there, great awareness by those tanks.
Yeah, and a good aggressive response coming out from Awaken Militia. See, Praise the Sun get a kind of a rare kill with the Dragon Strike without any Graviton Surge, without any other ultimates or help to work with. But now the rally going to be coming out from Maroki, and the huge Earth Shatter from Bear is going to make this an easy fight for Impera.
There's not a whole lot to talk about. Shatter, everyone, they die. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Is that a thing people say anymore? Am I back in like 2007? I don't even know. But it doesn't matter because it looks like Impera is going to be going back to the future as this payload is moving at 88 miles per hour toward the final checkpoint. The Shatter is going to come out in response, but the Trans is there to stop that Graviton from finding a whole lot of purchase. The Dragon Strike only going to find one, but Mark Nakoa is a big pick for them. They're going to bring out their Trans in response, and the Valkyrie is there to keep them damage boosted. Now here comes the combo again. Dragon Strike from Praise the Sun. Gonna clean that one up at the last second. They waited out the Trans, and that was exactly what they needed to clean this kill up. And boy, Awaken Militia stopped that one real quick.
Yeah, and when as a Hanzo and Zarya, when you see the Transcendence get popped early, you just start kind of licking your lips. Your mouth starts to water a little bit because you know what's coming. As soon as that Transcendence is gone, all of the enemy team is already grouped up, and you've got the perfect opportunity for that combo.
Sneaky little flank here from Impera, going to find the Hui on Mercy right away. Fortunately, Praise the Sun going to be cleaning up some kills on his own and not going to allow that pick to foil their plans to defend here. They're going to hold another pick or another fight very solidly.
Yeah, and now the rally going to come out from 20, just builds up all of that armor on to his teammates as they move in for this final fight. Just going to make it that much harder for Impera to burst them down, and when they don't have those big crowd control ultimates available, it is going to make it very difficult to move in now, and they've already lost 2 members to start things off.
Yeah, big shatter here from Andrew, and they are going to eat a Dragon Strike here in return. Right now, you see Dr. Haas separate from the rest of the team. Not sure that he's super effective from back there, and he is just barely going to be able to stall this one out in overtime, going to get picked off, and I don't think anyone is going to be able to touch this one. That's another great hold from Awaken Militia. Stall this one out in the just before point C, and now it's going to be on them to come up with an attacking strategy.
Yeah, and that was a good response there from Awaken Militia there on the final point. They were caught up in a little bit of a snowball here on Blizzard World once that payload really started moving. They had a lot of struggles there on the second point, especially able to regroup, get the ultimate combinations that they needed. That big Graviton Surge Dragon Strike came through, able to kind of finally put a halt to that attack from Impera and held firmly from there on the back of some, I think, some really great tank play on the side of Aloof Andrew. He was definitely getting the better of Bear in those last couple of fights, and that shined through as Awaken Militia were able to get the stop that they were looking for. But now they do have a considerable distance that they have to push, but they do have the opportunity to take the victory outright here.
And another thing to point out is 20 coming out on the Farah. Right now, it looks like Impera is not predicting this, not running that McCree for Universe as we saw previously. That may come back to bite them here as they try to defend this first. And it's going to also be interesting to see how Universe deals with Praise the Sun, because a lot of times that Widowmaker can, outfight the Hanzo when you're fighting at a distance. And if they find the right sight line, that can help them out very much as well.
Yeah, especially if Impera does want to hold back on the point, which is where they're set up right now. There is going to be some opportunity for Praise the Sun to get those long sight lines down from the entrance. And 20 is going to be hard to deal with given the composition that he's going up against right now. I think Awaken Militia has kind of gained this out correctly so far.
Yeah, if Impera can win this first fight, they'll have a chance to adjust for that. But right now, it's on them, and Bear is coming out swinging hard. They know they don't have a whole lot of time to sit there with Pharaoh rockets raining down. Fortunately, Universe finds that pick onto Farah, and that is going to give them the pick they need to push forward. The kill comes in onto the Reinhardt, and the Shatter follows very quickly. That's going to be a 6 kill. Not quite yet. Yep, there it is. 6 kills for the likes of Impera. Big team wipe for them, and they're going to fall back and adjust for this next one.
Yeah, and Bear builds up that Earth Shatter in just about like 20 seconds of real fight time. They're really impressive stuff. And you know, the big difference is that he didn't have Praise the Sun on the Hanzo on the opposite side, who has now made that switch actually. But he didn't have to worry about those rapid fire arrows, which had been kind of his demise several times earlier in this matchup tonight. But now he's got to worry about the Hanzo once again.
Yeah, with Bear charging that ultimate in 20 seconds, Awaken Militia might need a second 20 to rain some more rockets down onto them. Fortunately, they have a Shatter of their own and a Transcendence to help clean this one up. They are going to be weathering that Dragon Strike very nicely, and Aloof Andrew's going to keep swinging with that Transcendence up and running. 20's still there, raining down the rockets, forces the Trance out this time, and the Graviton is coming out at the tail end of that Trance. The Barrage is there to clean this one up. 20 coming up huge, and that is going to solidify the first capture here for Awaken Militia.
Yeah, and Zazan builds up the first Graviton Surge on this first point of Blizzard World, and that's going to be the kind of closer that they need. Once the Transcendence was out from Dr. Ha, he had to drop it earlier to keep all the members of his team alive on the point. And once that is gone, the Graviton Surge just has the green light to pick up all the kills. Now, Praise the Sun going to be forcing the members of Impera off of the high ground with that Dragon Strike.
Yeah, very sneaky Dragon coming up from the siege tank there, and it's going to give them a little bit of room to breathe as they move around this first corner. The rocket's still coming down, and still no McCree for Universe, so they're confident that this Hanzo, or I guess maybe the Zen, are going to be able to find the picks, and that confidence is not misplaced. Universe finds 20, gonna have to do it again because that Rez is there, and now he is down to Mark Nakoa. So this is starting to look grim for Impera on the streets phase.
Yeah, and Universe gets a little too aggressive there on the defense, tries to get in the back, picks up a pick on the 20, but that gets Rez back up immediately, and he pays his life for it. And now it's a 5-on-6 as Awaken Militia try to make their way towards the end of this point, and the big Earth Shatter comes out from Aloof Andrew to close things out here.
Yeah, a little bit of disjointed ultimates, I think, coming out, and Ninja Salad used that Graviton without anyone there to really follow it very well. So that is going to leave plenty of room for Awaken to take point B. Now moving on to C with a lot of momentum to spare. However, the ult economy does favor the likes of Impera very slightly.
Yeah, but Awaken Militia has all the time in the world to kind of build it back up, get the big combinations that they need, and they are approaching Zazon, having another Graviton Surge. 20 and Praise the Sun both prepared to follow up on that with lots of damage. And now Miroki gonna make a switch over to a Pharah for himself, trying to counter 20 with another Pharah, but it's gonna be 20 getting the picks to start things off.
Yep, big picks there for 20, gonna get stopped by Miroki, but that's a 1 pick to 5, and that's the you know, if you do a little bit of math there, not going to favor Impera. This is getting closer to that golden box of victory, and no one is gonna come out to touch it in time. The Graviton stopping the stall, and another very strong win from Awaken. You know, Impera's not playing badly, but Awaken just has them at every corner here, and it's done very well for them.
Yeah, and I think the big difference has just been the kind of coordination on the ultimate so far. It seems like every time that Awaken Militia use a Graviton Surge or an Earth Shatters, that they have the members of their team, they have the DPS ultimates to follow that up. to lay in the damage necessary to close things out. And, occasionally that just wasn't the case for Impera, and it allowed Awaken Militia to really take this match and just control it from start to finish, at least there on Blizzard World.
Yes, indeed, and great performance, as we said here, from Awaken Militia. Officially, if you were doing official, this would normally end after 4, but for a scrim, a lot of teams like to play 5, like to take up the whole kind of 2-hour time block, and they are going to be deciding whether they want to go on to another one here. Some are suggesting Rialto here in the chat. I don't know that that's going to be where we go. Possibly a King's Row. Very, well, maybe not. We'll see. Normally it's control, but, King's Row is control if you close your eyes and squint a little bit, right?
Yeah, King's Row, Lijiang Tower, they're basically the same map if you think about it.
Yes, indeed. Impera, great sports, wanting to, continue playing this series, despite the fact they haven't found a whole lot of numerical success. They've been playing well, and I think they know that they're playing well. And I think that they know that just with some minor tweaks that they can come out with even more success out of these. So, a lot of credit to them for continuing to play this one. I don't think we have a map picked yet, but it'll be a good one no matter which one it is, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think there's no shame at all in losing to a team like Awaken Militia. We have seen them for a long time working together in these scrim nights, and they definitely have shown some kind of top tier coordination on their side of things. So, absolutely no shame on the side of Impera. They've definitely shown some really impressive moments. I think they've got a lot to build on as they continue to kind of cohere as a team. They've only been together for about 2 months, so a fairly new team working together. And I think they definitely have shown us a lot of potential here.
And we are doing Elias onto the well for the first map, and this is going to be another interesting one. Kind of shakes up the compositions a little bit. See a lot of the boop coming in here, the environmental kills. You do see the ball and chain, especially on this one, and the Orisa, the Hog, the Lucio, Farah boop. There's a lot of stuff that you can do here, and I think we're going to see all of it on this point before it is done. Interesting to see Farah and a McCree being hovered by both sides, actually. So that is definitely a good combination, a good set of heroes to come out and kind of counter each other. And this is a mirror match. No, Ana, excuse me, Dr. Haas on Honor, actually. So that'll be interesting to see whether that's effective.
Yeah, that's a very interesting pick on this map. I think you see the McCree on well, especially for Ilios. 1, to counter the Farah, and 2, just because this is kind of the ideal point for McCree, given the range of his kind of damage fall off. There's no real places where he's not going to be hitting almost maximum damage on this point. So definitely an ideal situation for him, and then we'll see which of those McCrees can kind of keep the opposing Pharah in check.
I think we're going to be looking for the Ana to counter the Transcendence as well with the Bio Grenade. And that's going to be an early boop for 20. Ninja Salad falls down the well. Others will follow here, it looks like. The well, I'm hoping the well is hungry, or at least somewhat empty, because it is going to be filled up quite a bit by the end of this. Early cap going over to Awaken Militia once again, and they're going to be set up very well for some continued fights. 20 nearing the first barrage already.
Yeah, and now the challenge is for Impera to kind of make their way back onto the point. With the compositions that these two teams are running, it is definitely a lot easier to hold your ground than it is to retake it. And so now Awaken Militia definitely has the advantage moving forward.
Yeah, now 20 gonna have that barrage available. Gonna lose the aerial duel though to Maroki, and that is a big pick. Now it is gonna be on Impera to move in, and Ninja Salad is doing just that. Now they have the Maroki here on the back line, and it's gonna be on Ninja, or excuse me, not Ninja, Awaken Militia to come up with a couple of important picks on this one. Going to drop the Nano Boost onto the Barrage Fair, only gonna find one pick with that combo. And it's not going to result in a take yet for Impera. Somehow Awaken is going to hold this one out, and they're already at 60%.
Yeah, and Impera just didn't quite push their advantage to the limit there. They got the early pickups. Maroki had the advantage up in the skies, was winning the air battle, and had a little bit of a flank moving, but not quite able to land those finishing blows. And now once again, Awaken Militia are building their way up almost at 70%. And now the Praise the Sun gonna drop his High Noon to start things off, and Universe gonna counter with Zone.
Yeah, the High Noon comes out from both sides. Not gonna find any picks there, but there's a huge pull. Bear coming in big with those, but the rest of the team is not going to be able to find same success, and it's going to be Awaken Militia cleaning that one up, dropping that barrage on the spawn for good measure. 20 gets slapped out of the air, but it's not going to keep them taking point number 1 here on Ilios.
Yeah, and it's a very similar story to what we saw on Oasis earlier this evening, with Awaken Militia taking the 100-0 to start things off, but now you're moving to a very different type of map, at least here on Ilios. This is definitely probably the most unique kind of control stage in maybe the entire game. As Ruins has long been a playground for Widowmakers, and we are going to see both Universe and 20 come out on everybody's favorite Purple Lady to start things off, and we'll see which of these two snipers can get the better of the other.
I know some consider this heresy, but I prefer the non-purple skins for the Widowmaker. But these teams are going to be moving in, and Impera takes an early step onto this point. The dive tanks coming out, and so far going to be holding that point very well, very effectively. The ball and chain this time coming out for Awaken Militia is going to be somewhat effective at grabbing those guys and tearing them down. And the Widow duel so far being won here by 20. Dr. Ha is actually going to have to counter it. And this could still go back over to Impera. So far, they don't have a whole lot of tanks here on the point, and the res for Awaken is going to solidify their hold and their capture. And now it is coming down to the last few fights here for Impera to try to take this one back, or we're going to see a 5-0 out of Awaken.
Yeah, and this is a very difficult composition to dive into with that Arisa, Roadhog, and the Hanzo. To come in with a Winston right now is very, very difficult. You're kind of relying on Universe or Roki to get those picks in the backline, and so far they just haven't been able to do enough to allow Impera to take any point, and it looks like this fight is going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that it seems like Awaken is doing so well here is they are able to back off, regroup, find their footing, and then find a pick immediately without having to waste a whole lot of time. So even on these little fights just now, like we saw, Impera, started to find purchase, and then Awaken just adjusts.
Yeah, and right now, Praise the Sun is doing a good job of finding a lot of very different angles, while the rest of his team is kind of distracting the members of Impera. He is off on this left side, just holding things down, putting in some damage, trying to find an early pick, but this time it's going to be Universe to win that Widowmaker.
Yeah, that's a very important pick for them. It's still going to get res, so it's still going to be up to the rest of the team to find their own picks and their own success here. The Dragon's going to come through here for Praise as well. Going to take down Pilot Diva. Dr. Ha going to follow. Universe winning that fight, takes out 20 again, but everyone else is not going to find the kills they want.
Yeah, and now it's going to be a mad dash to the point for Impera as They try to stall things out. It's going to be Moirai on the Tracer trying to get on there, trigger the overtime. He'll be backed up by the rest of his team eventually. But with the Supercharger here available for Awaken Militia, this is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, desperate struggle here with those support ultimates coming out for Impera. They are looking for their final fight, and they are not giving up without a big effort here. The Dragons are going to come through the team, not going to find anybody quite yet, and the Primal Rage is there for Bear to take down anyone that he can find. Praise the Sun going down on that one. It is going to be a couple return kills from the likes of Awaken Militia, but Bear is going to find enough purchase there to finally take this one back, and that is going to be their first start here to gain some percentage on the Ilios Ruins map.
Yeah, and Bear using his Primal Rage to great effectiveness there. He dropped early in the fight as they dove into that supercharged damage coming out from Awaken Militia, but the Transcendence and the Resurrect allow him back into the fight, and he definitely makes his second life count as he picks up a couple kills with the Primal Rage and then cleans up the fight from there.
Yeah, now you see, this is gonna, every fight is gonna matter here for Impera to continue to hold this. Moirai gonna get a good kill in the back there. 2 kills, actually, the Pulse Findings is on, despite the nerf to that, and the dive tanks are there to follow as well. Moirai picking up the cleanup here. Very good work from these guys, and they are ready to hold this, is what it seems like.
Yeah, and I think they might have found a little bit of an answer, and they're forcing some swaps out of the side of Awaken Militia. Gonna opt for that Reinhardt Zarya Brigitte composition that we've seen a lot of this evening. That they have played to great success. I think they might just be hoping that they can build up one of those big crowd control ultimates, build up the Dragon Strike as well, and use that to take the one fight that they need to close it out here on Ilios.
And Moirai sees to swap over to Brigitte and swaps over to Impera. Once again here, Universe is going to find a couple picks for the start of this fight as well. And just like that, percentage is building for Impera to actually hold this one out.
Yeah, and that's a very intelligent swap coming out from Moirai. He knows that there's not going to be any hit scan pressure on the side of it, and he's going to force 20 to go for the Widowmaker. We'll see if that's going to be enough, but it's very late, and now Moirai is down to start things off. Bear gets into the back line, gets the early all-important pick, and it's just Marknetkoa here for the healing. He's got the Transcendence, though. And
Moirai actually is going to be able to go back and adjust, switches to the Tracer in response to that. So a little game of kind of mental rock, paper, scissors going on between these two teams with these picks. 99% on the board for both teams. Bear going to find a pick onto a loop, but the rest of Awaken is there to follow up. This is still going either way. The Valkyrie is, just the Mercy with the healing is out right now, and that's keeping the rest of the team alive. They are going to be slowly building up the numbers here. Impera looks like they're going to find the success in these last few picks on this point. Zizan desperately trying to hold this one out, now joined by Aloof, and Praise the Sun is there as well. Praise looking for a pick, looking for purchase, looking for anything, not going to find it, steps off the point, and that does go over to Impera.
Yeah, they show a whole lot of heart there on the second point here of Ilios. They are not going down without a fight. They want to at least see all 3 points here on Ilios, and can you blame them given how beautiful this lighthouse stage is? But really impressive stuff coming out there from the side of Impera. The dive finally working out for them at the last second there, as they take the point with 99% with their backs up against the wall. And now we're going to see dive coming out from both teams to start things off. A bit of classic dive coming out from the side of Impera, though, with Moirai sticking with that Pharah that he has played to great success so far.
Here is 20 on Doomfist. That is going to be definitely a different pick from him. I have great confidence that he'll find some success with that, but we'll see how he does against the Genji and whether we see a Brigitte come out in response. Bear finds the first pick here onto Marknetkoa, and it does look like Impera is starting to have a little bit more momentum to start this next map off as well.
Yeah, and Awaken Militia gets a little bit kind of separated there. Martin Koa gets kind of left behind while the rest of his team make their way onto the point, and Impera just catch onto that really
and
quickly.
They are asking for a pause here. It looks like there the pause comes out, and maybe some kind of connection issue. Hard to say exactly what's going on. Ooh, yeah, 1 frame per second is about quite a few frames less than you need, even for a hero like Doomfist. Of course, he doesn't need any, really, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of randomly you charge up the punch, you just spin around in a random direction, and I think about half the time you're going to hit something. So I mean, really, do you need frames at all? So, but it looks like we are going to get back into the action here very quickly. 20 still opting to. Oh, actually, nope. Gonna make the switch here. The Doomfist not working out when you're going up against the opposing Pharah. Not exactly the best combination there, but they're going to go with the Reinhardt Zarya with 20 on the Pharah. Interesting that they aren't going for a dive of their own.
Yeah, that is interesting to see, and no Hanzo here either. I suppose it makes sense. Now, will they be able to deal with Genji? Praise the Sun says yes, lands that pulse bomb, and is going to find that early pick. It is going to be on the rest of the team to try to find some more picks here. They are looking. They're finding not as much as they would like. And the point is still held very much by Impera as they find a pick onto 20 and clean this one up.
Yeah, and right now, I just think the dive of Impera is showing us why that they kind of said that this is their preferred play style. I think in the current meta, it's not always viable on a lot of maps, but Ilios is definitely one where it is. The bear gonna get caught out, going a little too aggressively there, and now Universe tries to compensate with his Dragon Blade, gonna get shut down as well.
Yes, the fight is coming out here, but it's not going to be enough for Awaken Militia to deal with that rocket barrage right in the face. Another good hold, and 82%. This is looking really good here for Impera.
Yeah, and they incredible job of turning that fight around off the back of Dr. Ha and Maroki. Dr. Ha drops the Transcendence to keep his teammates alive. Maroki comes in with the barrage to deal the damage, and now it's going to be a desperate attempt to stall things out. Loof Andrew on the point with Praise the Sun, but Impera trying to finish things off. It looks like they're going to be able to take at least our final map here.
Yeah, Praise is going to be trying to stall this one out, but Universe is going to be cleaning up the rest of the team at the moment. 20 with a last-minute barrage is not going to find all of the kills that he wanted to find, and that is going to be it. Impera does take Ilios. Great comeback from Impera. They had it in them, and I'm glad to see them come out with at least one win in the series.
Yeah, and they get a little bit of a consolation prize, a parting gift for them after what was kind of a difficult series for them at times. But they showed us a lot of potential, especially here on this last map. They finally kind of got their team cohesion together, and I think they worked very well when they're able to play that dive composition. I think it is pretty obvious that is something they have practiced very extensively, and gives me a lot of hope for them moving forward, that they can kind of solve the current meta, get that level of coordination going, and come back in the future with a little more success. And so I mean, I think they've got to be happy with how they improved just throughout the evening here.
Yeah, and if I were Impera, I would definitely be looking for a rematch. Obviously, facing opponents that are very close to you in skill level is a great way to improve, and a little bit of an uphill battle for Impera, I think, even better for them. And that's everything that we are about here at Broadcast.gg. We are here for everyone to improve, of course, our teams, but broadcasters as well. And everyone here has done a lot of improving. If you are someone who wants to improve or just give it a shot to see if you are any good at this casting stuff or even producing stuff, we are a great place for that. Please out Discord if you're interested. It's in one of the panels below. If you're somehow watching a VOD of this for some reason instead of watching it live, that's all right. Check out the main channel page. It will be in one of those panels there. Before we get too far along with the kind of final plug here and the closeout, do you have any comments on the entirety of that game here, Shy Guy?
I think we got some really impressive Overwatch coming out from both teams, and I think both teams kind of set out the objectives that, or accomplished kind of the objectives that they told us about going into it. Awaken Militia wanting to kind of work on their kind of general coordination and the efficiency of how they use ultimates and their resources, and I definitely think we saw some really excellent progress coming out for them. Their ultimate economy was on point throughout the evening, and then for Impera, they said that they wanted to improve on kind of the death ball composition that we're seeing in the current meta, and I think they definitely showed us some promising stuff there. They had some really I think excellent tank play coming out from Bear and Ninja Salad, and the team themselves, I think, kind of got a little bit more comfortable with that kind of style throughout the evening. So I think both teams definitely have some good things to take away from going into the future.
Very well said, Shy Guy. I think that this is going to be a great game for these teams to look back on to try to improve and, as you said, take into the future here. One other thing that we are going to see in the very near future is the Broadcast.gg coverage of Overwatch Open Division. We are nearing the final stages of that tournament. It is a Swiss-style tournament until we get to the very end, and have some playoffs as well. So week 5 coming up this weekend, and playoffs the weekend after that, if I recall the schedule correctly, and a lot of very exciting, very high-level games going on there. If I believe we are going to be back to NA being rebroadcast on Monday, Tuesday. But if you want to see all the kind of updates on that and see when our broadcasts are live, or the rebroadcasts at least are premiering, please be sure to check out the Twitter. There's a lot of really good info there. We put up a lot of work into the graphics up on the Twitter page, so a lot of great info there. And want to give a shout out to, I think Moosh makes most of those on his own. So Mooshu Beef, our glorious leader, coming out big with the updates for you guys on the Twitter. And someone else coming up big is going to be Moirai, hanging out in the back, kind of chilling, doing the production work, doing the observing. So got to give a shout out to Moirai for the match tonight as well. A lot of times I do that, and fortunately Moirai was there tonight because my main computer decided that Windows updates are more important than Overwatch. So it happens, and you get by with a little help from your friends or from your Overwatch team, I suppose.
Yeah, and big shout out to Moirai for bringing everyone some great action this evening, making us all look good, at least as good as you can make us look.
We won't call her Mario tonight. Well, she got by without. She got by without the reference there. So that is, I hope she's I hope she's not going to be too bad about that one. We are going to be closing this one out for the evening. Thank you guys so much for watching. Of course, we do this for you. We hope you watch. We hope you continue watching, and we hope you come back next time. Shy Guy, any last throwdown remarks? Anything crazy? Shout outs, favorite cereal, anything like that you put in the broadcast?
Definitely Cocoa Krispies.
Cocoa Krispies are going to be the cereal of the night. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.